Book of Judges. Remember, for Joshua was a book of tribe to the promised land. Be faithful to the covenant and obeying the commands of the Torah. They do this. They show the nations what God is like. So Judges begins at the death of Joshua and Israel total failure. The book of name, the type of leaders, and its type of period. My brother's kind of kings. The tribe is governed by judges. That's why the courtroom. There's brutal political leaders, like a tribal chieftain. They have to be warned. Very disturbing and violent. Just a tragic tale of corruption, of bad leadership, and how to know different than the Canaanites. A sad story of Judges. There's also a little bit of hope in the future. Large introduction, stage of Israel's driving out the Canaanites, and the growing corruption of Israel. Judges. And I was ready to speak on later, so kind of good, kind of worse. Just the corruption of the people of Israel as a whole. Let's dive in and explore each part. The opening section begins with tribes of the Promised Land, tribes of Israel. Joshua defeated some and some towns, his lot of lands, a lot of Canaanites live in those areas. In chapter 1, Canaanite groups, Israel failed to drive all the land. Remember, the whole point of driving out the Canaanites, more corruption, and the way worshiping the gods, or child sacrifice, a holy people, and that does not happen. Chapter 2 describes around the Canaanites and after other culture of religious practice. Where the story stops, the whole chapter, narrator gives an overview of what's to happen, about body of the book. History, the narrator says, a series of cycles, a downward spiral. Israel became like the Canaanites and sinned against God, and God allowed them to be conquered and oppressed. And Israel will see the error of their ways and repent. And God will his deliverance, who would defeat the enemy and bring an era of peace. Would sin again, and all start all over. The cycle is a flow. Next main section of the book. They get repeated each judges and told here. In the first 3 judges, Bonil and Deborah, the epic adventures, extremely and bloody stories. The judges of themselves defeat their enemies. The next 3 judges focus on the characters, like character flaws, the judges, increasingly worse. Gideon is a coward. Becomes a trust, can save Israel through him. He defeats a huge army of Midianites with 300 men with torches and clay pots. But Gideon has a nasty temper and murders fellow Israelites who went up in this battle. And it goes down here from there. It becomes an idol and a goal that he won this battle after he dies and worships the idols as God. And the cycle begins again. And Jephthah, a Mafian thug, when things get really bad for Israel, the elders come to him for help. Jephthah is an effective leader, won lots of battles against the Ammonites. He was so unfamiliar with the God of Israel, treating like a Canaanite god. He vows to sacrifice his daughter if he wins the battle. This tragic story just shows how far Israel has fallen. They no longer know the character of their own God. It leads to murder and the false worship. The last judge, Samson, is far the worst. His fear goal of promise, but he has no regards for the God of Israel. He is promiscuous, violent, and arrogant. He did win brutally against the Philistines, but at the expense of his own integrity. His life ends in a violent rush of mass murder. He knows a breeded team the main section of the book, and the key moments of God's Spirit will empower the judges to accomplish this great deliverance. But God used the fact of deliverance doesn't mean endorses any of the decisions. But God was saving his people, but all he has worked with is corrupt leaders. So he works with them when he does. This dissection shows how bad has gone. You can't even tell the Israelites and the Canaanites and apart anymore. That's just the leaders. The final section shows as a whole heating at the bottom. Two tragic stories at the faint of heart. The structured key line 4 times the closing of the book. In those days, bad Israel read no king and were dry in their own eyes. Micah makes a private temple and gets it plundered by the tribe of Dan. They try to steal everything and burn the peaceful city of Lalish and murder all the inhabitants. It's a horrifying story when forgets their God. This last story is even worse. Sexual abuse and violence, and leads to Israel, civil war. It's very disturbing. And that's the point. The stories were meant to serve as a warning, self-destruction of turning away from the God who loves them, saved them out of slavery in Egypt. Now Israel is to be delivered again from themselves. The only glimmer of hope in the story is played in line in the last part of the book, and last sentence of the story. And Israel had the king. The origin of the king Jordan of David later on, and the birth of other king for Samuel is a value of strategy, disturbing human condition, ultimately pointing in need for God's grace to send a king that rescue his people, and that's what the book of Judges